and welcome to the NDTV Auto Show. I'm your host Mugdha Mishra, ready to take you on an exciting journey. It was Independence Day and as is customary, Mahindra made a splash. This year, they showcased some very exciting concepts. Let's take a look.
Homegrown car maker Mahindra and Mahindra on the occasion of Independence Day have laid out its Global Vision 2027. And to elaborate more on that, not one, not two, but four concepts have been showcased. All of them behind me. I'll take a closer look at them, explain what's on offer and also what really sets them apart from the existing Mahindra SUVs that you get in the market. Now behind all these concept SUVs, what underpins them is the highlight here. New iQube platform, a new platform that has been developed, and those are for the intentions that Mahindra wants to go global. First of them is the Vision S XT. This is a camper. This has got a carriage behind. It can be called a combination of a Thar and a Scorpio pickup, but it looks rugged, feels different, and overall it spans over 4.3 meters in length. Among all the SUV concepts showcased today, this might be the standout. The Vision T, as the name suggests, could be the Thar of the future. Could be available in both electric and ICE avatars, and design interpretation is quite digital, quite different from what we have seen. It's got different set of lights, the alloy wheels look rugged, and it's an upright stance. Now this is the Vision S, which means now the size decreases to sub 4 meter length. As you know, Mahindra is trying to get into a segment under 4 meters, the most happening SUV segment, and this one will do its trade exactly in the segment where the likes of Brezza, Venue and Sonnet makes their appeal felt. This one looks rugged, quite upright, boxy stance, and could well be a differentiator in terms of how Mahindra's future Bolero may look like. Last of the lot is the Vision X, which is again a sub 4 meter SUV, could well be the replacement for the existing Mahindra XUV 3XO. The design looks sharp, it's futuristic, got design elements that speak of genuinity, and also this one will make its presence felt in the same segment as the likes of Brezza and Venue. Now all these cars have the same platform, have a wheelbase of 2665mm, which is common among all these cars, and company promises these cars will be available in both ICE, these gasoline powered, and also electric avatars will also make their debut. Well, all these may look concept today, but 2027 is the time when all these will be starting to roll out from the factory, and the ambition is quite clear to make them appeal to the global masses. Now if you like the DC character Batman, there's something for you. It's super exclusive. This is for the first time where an Indian manufacturer has collaborated with Warner Bros. To give birth to a Batman edition. This is the BE6 Batman edition, priced at 27,80,000 rupees ex-showroom, based on the top of the line BE6 Pack 3, which means battery pack is 79 kilowatt hour rear wheel drive, but it's the design, is the interior of the car which stands out. The highlight obviously is this satin custom black color. There's loads of customization options on it. To start off, there is this huge Batman decal on the front fender. There are multiple Batman logos throughout the body. But the structural change here, compared to the regular BE6, this one rides on 20-inch alloy wheels. Onto the rear, the tailgate is also slightly different in design. But throughout the body, you see multiple Batman logos. Much like the exterior theme, the inside of the BE6 Batman edition is also completely darked out. The seats, however, use a different kind of fabric. These get suede seat. The overall appeal is same, space is same, but the feel might be just a little more exquisite. On top of the dash, you also see a hint of golden applique that runs through. Now, I must remind you, this is limited to only 300 units. So if you want to get one of these, hurry up. The bookings open on August 23rd, and the unit you get, it's numbered from 1 to 300, and you get that on top of your key fob. When Kia EV6 was launched a couple of years ago, it stood out in the market thanks to a design which looked distinct. Come to 2025, there's a facelift for this car, and what has improved? Well, the most important, range. Range has climbed up to 581 kilometers thanks to a bigger 84 kilowatt hour battery pack, and during our test run in the urban traffic, we could achieve over 480 kilometers on a single charge, which is quite remarkable. It supports fast charging, gets the new Hyundai Kia skateboard platform architecture, which supports up to 800 volt, which means real quick charging and less downtime for you. It looks the same. Silhouette looks swanky, it's low slung, it's an SUV, but has got sporty credentials. 19-inch alloy wheels, aero designed, and front, well, it looks distinct. Slight revision in the bumper design. Similarly, the rear half, the tail section has also been redesigned a little bit. The bumper looks more sportier. The side profile is similar, and these bulges and the lip give it a standout appeal, along with the flush door handles. The EV6 was always a feature-loaded car, and with the new edition, things have not changed much. What is new here are these seat options. These have a different color. The layout remains same. Sporty bucket seats give electronic adjustment, heating and ventilation for the front seats. It gets 2-zone AC. Even on the rear you have AC vents and USB charging point. In fact, this is the best car in terms of legroom area and headroom if you are a chauffeur driven passenger. However, you're seated low, which means the seat squab might just feel a little too less for your under thigh support, but overall the cushioning, the comfort, the space on offer is great. In terms of features, you get Meridian stereo system, there's a sunroof, this overall black upholstery option looks premium. The dashboard design has been slightly revised, not very much to my liking, but then it goes nicely with the flowy design. The shape of the AC vents have also been changed, and the centerpiece 12.5-inch twin HD screens. Excellent layout, gets all the connected features, auto dimming IRVM. The steering wheel is also new, but on the back seat though, knee-high position, well, that might find a few takers going away from the car. So it's a bigger battery pack, thanks to which you get more range now. Realistically, we could attain up to 480 kilometers in real life. Now it's an all-wheel drive. Not many EVs in the segment come with dual motor setup, and this one in combination makes 325 horsepower, 605 Newton meter of peak torque, 5 drive modes to play with. If you want to drive it sedately, plonk onto the eco mode. However, if you want to drive it fast, get that performance out of it, you can apply in the sport mode. The steering wheel looks new, it's nicely weighted, which means I have good amount of confidence when I'm throwing the car around the corner. It doesn't feel vague. And also the all-wheel drive setup and low center of gravity for this car also helps to the overall dynamics of the car. It gets level 2 ADAS. At times it's a little too intrusive, but I don't complain. I'm not against ADAS features. It is a safety package. It's becoming more of a hygiene these days across segments. The suspension is slightly on the stiffer side, and when the EV6 goes over road undulations, road joints, you do feel that lateral movement in the suspensions which kind of come inside the cabin. If you're working in the back seat, being driven around by a chauffeur, well, that can be a little annoying, but not a deal breaker.
Alright, so let's talk about the design of the Thruxton 400. Yes, it's a modern day interpretation of a cafe racer, and the design is obviously inspired by the Thruxton 1200. Now you'll see this nice cafe racer like fairing here. It has nice clean lines and it has some edges. It's not entirely rounded like the Thruxton 1200. And if you see at the expanse of the side profile of the motorcycle, you see that it has those nice clean modern classic lines, right? And at the rear, the subframe is new. It is not the same as the Speed 400. The load bearing capacity is the same, and you also get this body colored bump stop or cowl for the rear seat, which is of course removable should you want to add a pillion rider with you. The engine stays the same as the Speed 400. There are a few updates there as well. We'll come to that in a bit. And if you were to talk about the front suspension, then unlike the Speed 400, this is done in black and that's done in gold colored forks, right? Overall, the design of the fuel tank also, it slightly changes. These recesses that you see here is slightly bigger so that you can grip the motorcycle better when you're cornering and when you're riding at high speeds, right?
The bike continues to get the same set of features as the Speed and the Scrambler 400X, which includes dual channel ABS, switchable traction control and a USB port along with the same part LCD part analog instrument console.
So it's the same 398cc TR series single cylinder liquid cooled engine on the Thruxton 400, but few differences here and there. The motor now makes 2 horsepower more, so the total power output is 42 horsepower compared to the 40 horsepower on the Speed 400. The torque stays the same at 37.5 Newton meters, and Triumph claims that the top speed on this motorcycle is 160 kilometers per hour. The 0 to 100 is done in 6.7 seconds, which is 1 second less than that of the Speed 400. I've told you all about the engine, I've told you about the design. Now it's time for me to ride the motorcycle. So let's get going. So we spent a couple of hours riding the Thruxton 400. The engine feels significantly peppier in terms of performance, in terms of outlet acceleration, in terms of how the response to the throttle inputs are, right? So it feels quite peppy, it feels sporty, it feels engaging, and overall this motorcycle is a hoot to ride. So the mid-range and the top end is very strong, quite enjoyable, and that's courtesy of the increased rev range on the engine, right? So yes, quite enjoyed riding the motorcycle. The 6-speed gearbox, as usual, it's quite smooth. The gears slot in very nicely, and the slip and assist clutch keep all that power in check when you're like aggressively downshifting, so there's no wheel hopping, right? So in terms of performance, yeah, quite like this motorcycle. So the beauty that you see standing beside me is the Mercedes AMG CLE53 AMG coupe. Now this is the second CLE model in India after the CLE300 cabriolet. And yes, this is not a cabriolet, this is a coupe, and in typical AMG fashion, this looks downright menacing. You have this nice Pan Americana grille, these lovely wraparound headlights, you can see that. The matte color looks really good, menacing, and you have all these cuts and creases on the bonnet. So you have this power dome sort of a thing happening here. If you can just come over to the side, you can see these nice chunky alloy wheels, AMG style of course. Looks very nice. And now this is the badging here, the Turbo 4MATIC Plus. And if you look at the profile of the vehicle, it is a coupe. It's a 2-door setup, looks very nice. And at the rear, you'll have this nice lip spoiler right here. You have the badging there, the CL53, and you have the quad exhaust as well. And of course, you have this AMG badging right here. Now look at this huge, massive engine bay, which houses the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. The peak power output is 449 horsepower, and the peak torque output is 560 Newton meters with 40 extra Newton meters in the over boost mode, taking the total output to 600 Nm. The motor gets a 9-speed dual clutch gearbox, and it can do the 0 to 100 sprint in 4.2 seconds and has a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. Mercedes is also working on a V8 engine which will be soon seen on the CLE, and that will be called the CLE63 and not the 53 like you see here. Alright, so I'm inside the cabin of the CLE53 AMG. So the first thing that you notice is this chunky steering wheel, and here you have the controls for switching the ride modes. Right here, so you have slippery, individual, comfort, sport, sport plus, and lastly race mode. And here you can toggle the exhaust, and this is from switching from manual to automatic as far as the gearbox is concerned. You have a 12.3-inch console in front of the driver and an 11.9-inch screen, touchscreen here, which houses all the functions. So you can see that whenever you change the ride modes, you have the drive, suspension and the dynamics, right? You'll see that the cabin has very less buttons. In fact, these are the only buttons that you get. Everything else is controlled from the touchscreen that you see here. It gives you that sporty experience when you're inside the cabin with these red seat belts that you see here. Very sporty, and you do get 2+2 seating. So 2 seats here, 2 seats at the rear, but those are really cramped and best suited to either keep your luggage or for your children.
If you own a slightly older car, your biggest worry today is probably E20. To talk more about what E20 means, how can it impact your car, is it really that worrisome? What benefits does it have? I have the right man for this purpose, Mr. Harmas Sarabji. Harmas, thank you so much for joining us today. First question, which is something that has been troubling a lot of people, that will OEMs adhere to their warranties if an older car uses E20 fuel?
Well, look, the OEMs or manufacturers are going to go by the book. So if in the owner's manual it says your car can only use E10, they're going to say, well, you use anything other than E10, then we are not liable. Obviously, that's what they're going to do. But reality can be different. So I think, the whole issue really is there's a lot of confusion in the market. And clearly, the thing is, car owners have been sort of blindsided and suddenly this has popped up on it. Though E20 has been coming into the market for a long time, OEMs, manufacturers knew E20 was coming. But I think the communication just hasn't been proper, to the extent. So people are naturally worried. Obviously, there are doomsday scenarios being painted that you put E20 and your car will stop. It's like, it's not like putting petrol in diesel or diesel in petrol and you'll damage your engine immediately. Yes, there is an impact, especially on the older cars. But again, it's not catastrophic. There is degradation and you will have to change parts. There will be a cost. Who bears that? The OEMs or the customers? It really depends how this evolves going forward. Some OEMs might just do it themselves. Manufacturers might do it themselves. In fact, this is really a chance for manufacturers to kind of step in and give kind of some confidence or peace of mind to their customers and, kind of look after the older cars by retrofitting wherever possible. Everyone can't do it, but some manufacturers, I think, would look at that. So, yeah, manufacturer side, to answer your question, I think, to be honest, everyone's put their hands up. No, you're using E20 in an E10 car. Sorry, that's not our problem. And they're going by the book. Problem is there's no E10 available now. That was the other issue. Everyone's jumped to E20 and now you only have E20.
But, there were some tweets from oil manufacturing, oil marketing companies that XP95 has 10%, though now it's deleted. But what's the clarity on petrol grade? Which one has 20% ethanol and which ones don't have? Though RTI does says that XP95 also has 20%. So what's the clarity on that?
So I think it's quite simple. I mean, that's the whole issue. There's no E10 available right now. So if there was some E10 available, they would have given it. But that's not the case. I think put it very simply, except for 100 octane, which is the really small volume, high performance petrol, it just wasn't feasible to put an ethanol blended that. It's just easy to let that be because it sells in very minute volumes. So except for 100 octane, which is, given by brands like IOCL and HP, everything else is E20, but one good thing is which has happened is that the octane level has gone up. So from 91 to 95, now that's a big jump, and that really benefits cars with high compression engines because high compression engines need 95 octane, but it doesn't benefit low compression engines, which are the mainstream engine. Yeah, that's right. So I think it's there are three things. What happens with the E20? It impacts your fuel efficiency, it impacts wear and tear, and it impacts the performance of the car because obviously ECU calibration is done to different fuels. So if you want, let's look at the most worrisome thing is the impact on the degradation. Now, the only thing we have right now, which even the government is leaning on, is an ARAI study, which says there's not too much degradation. Now, concern is that this is being a bit downplayed and that there could be. Again, it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. Some manufacturers already E20 compliant for a long time. A company like Toyota over 10 years, Honda from 2008, Mercedes also, E20 compliant since BS6. And that is fully E20 compliant. For material compliance, it's even before, so the degradation issue is not there. So again, there's no real clear answer how much the degradation is going to be. But my sense is it's not going to be catastrophic. It will be over time. There will be some cost. You will have to replace rubber parts and seals and, things like that. Worst case, even injectors, can get clogged. But I think, we are quite ingenious. Even the OEMs are. There will be ways to counter this. There could be additives. Now, a lot of people are already saying use additives on social media. To be honest, I don't know which is a good one. So it's best again to go by what the manufacturer says. If you need to use an additive, go by what the manufacturer says. because you get some additives which can kind of are anti-corrosive in property, so they can counter it a bit. But I think at the end there will be issues with degradation. So I think over time people will need to change parts, but it's cumulative. Speaking to some of the manufacturers, they said maybe 2-3 years, 60,000 kilometers, you'll start seeing the effects of the corrosive factor. So yeah.
Well, that's all for today on the NDTV Auto Show. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel NDTV Auto and follow us on your favorite social media platform. I will see you next week. Till then, drive safe, take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.